are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law.
But what exactly makes us protected?
Well, there has been legislation put in place to protect you. Think about Title IX, which says that you can't discriminate because of sex or gender, or Title VI, which means you can't discriminate because of race or nationality. Disabled people are protected by the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, where they have to get a fair and equal education without any discrimination. And the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act gives all disabled students an access to tailored public education to them.
I mean, these are great, but they're just laws. I mean, you taught us about Mendez v. Westminster, right? That one case in 1947 where the schools for Mexicans were found as discrimination. The Court of Appeals found segregation of Mexican descendants as unconstitutional, but obviously that law isn't really working very well because we know that Mexican Americans and the Latino community in general aren't really being treated that fair. We have important leaders in our country who stereotype my Mexican family as rapists and murderers and drug dealers. The laws aren't really helping.
Yeah, or what about Lau v. Nichols, where linguistically deprived children had disadvantages in classrooms? It may have been ruled that to deprive students of opportunities to participate in public education was unconstitutional, but people are doing a poor job of following it, obviously. Considering all the discrimination being done to those young students who take classes which are taught exclusively in English but have limited English proficiency.
Yes, I suppose some of our laws aren't the strongest, but they are there to protect you. It is the people's fault that they aren't implemented. But you know that a lot of them are. Think about the Andrew F. v. Douglas County School District. The court used the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act to make their ruling. It was in favor of Andrew F., an autistic fifth grader, based on the fact that schools are supposed to provide a level of education based on the child's circumstances that will enable him or her to progress.
But what about cases like Regents of the University of California versus Bach? The Supreme Court ruled that while racial-based quotas can't be used for admissions, schools are still allowed to consider race while accepting students.
And that case also affected Grutter v. Bollinger, where applicants weren't admitted to the University of Michigan because they weren't part of that minority group. The ruling on this case was that racial affirmative action was still needed in order to add diversity to the schools.
Sure, there are some cases like those, but the Supreme Court did rule that Bach should be accepted into the University of California. And during the Grutter v. Bollinger case, the Supreme Court was also ruling on the Gratz v. Bollinger case, where they found that the point system that the university had been using fit under a quota system, which had been ruled unconstitutional. Everyone is protected under the 14th Amendment, minorities and non-minorities included.
But when do these court rulings ever actually do anything?
Well, all of these court cases have changed the education system somehow. Can't you guys name a case that has done that?
Oh, what about Brown versus Board of Education? This case was influenced by Sylvia Mendez's case and was the start of desegregating schools. It was ruled that having two separate schools for black and white students was unconstitutional.
Exactly. All of these cases do matter. And do you guys notice that there's a similarity in all of them?
It's the students and their families that are bringing these cases to court to try to find justice and make a change. I mean, without them, there'd never be a change.
What do you as students need to feel protected?
Well, the laws are important because they provide a foundation for us to build off of, but equal protection means more than just some laws, right? It means that people actually have to implement them and use them on a day-to-day basis and, speak out and feel safe to speak out when they don't feel that they or someone else are being protected.
Yes, it feels as though we the people are responsible for making the first step to protection. Because we are the voice.
We are the change.
We are the call to action.